today we're looking at the boning knife. This is also kind of known as the raw meats knife. This is one of those great tools for your kitchen. You're going to be able to buy meat more in its whole form. This allows you to usually save a lot of money as well as get a fresher product. So this thing's great to either break down a whole chicken, debone chicken thighs, stuffed pork chops, butterfly chicken breast, even just slice it up for a stir fry. Get that fat layer off of meats like those pork loins or beef roast. You're even able to break down a whole fish if you want to. So this is a great tool to get practice at. When you have a nice sharp thin blade like this one here, it's going to make quick work of it, and it's really going to become something that you'll be able to do all the time. Alright, so we're looking at a pork loin here. This is something that usually always has a little extra fat on there. So you'll be able to use your boning knife, clean that up really quick, and make it a lot healthier for you. So with something like this, you're able to just kind of get in there, and you're actually kind of able to pull it off. Or if you do need to, you can kind of move right down it. You're always able to kind of grab onto the parts of the fat to help kind of pull it away. So you can do kind of a bit of a sawing motion with it. This allows you to just kind of glide right through it. You can use that point there. You're able to kind of tuck in underneath parts of it and slide right across. Come back around, you can pull that off. So even with this too, like I kind of mentioned, you're able to cut up the raw meats. This would work really good for big beef roast. You're able to cut it up, either throw it in for a stew, or even if you just want to roast up some smaller pieces to have with some potatoes and other roasted vegetables. So with something like this, you are able to just kind of do nice thin pieces. You can kind of make medallions, or if you are looking for kind of 1-inch cubes for things. Alright, so something pretty common to do, stuffing chicken breast or pork chops or something. You'll want to be able to use the point of your blade there. You're able to stick in and kind of move it back and forth within that to create that pocket that you can either stuff with some type of breadcrumb filling, or even just a couple cloves of garlic or something like that. So with that, you're able to just kind of get your meat set up, move in on the side. It's always a good idea to kind of put your hand flat on there so it doesn't move around. And as long as you're keeping your blade flat, there's no way to really poke yourself. So you're able to just kind of go back and forth. Without going all the way through. And this way it kind of creates a pocket in there. So like I said, you can stuff that. Sometimes with either pork chops or chicken breast, you don't want some really thick piece because it's going to take a long time to cook. You are able to butterfly it. You may have heard of this term before. This is where you pretty much cut almost all the way through it in half to allow it to lay flat, give you a nice bigger piece. So you can just lay your hand flat. And then you're not quite going all the way through. So this allows you to open it up, and if you need to, you can kind of just go a little farther. This way, this is either good, you can leave it just like this, or you can get your tenderizer out and make it real flat for like a Wiener Schnitzel or just a thin patty. So chicken tends to be something I always buy whole. One, I get to be able to use the carcass afterwards. I'll usually make stock out of it that I can either use for a soup later, add to a recipe for some gravy, or just add any extra flavor whenever I want to. Whole chickens are usually way cheaper than even just buying chicken breast already cut up, and it also gives you a couple different meals out of it. So with chicken, you tend to have a few main parts to it, and the boning knife will allow you to do the whole thing very quickly and easily, whether you want to just quarter it up or you want to break it all the way down to completely boneless pieces. First thing you always want to do, well, for me is a trick I learned. You could use the backside of your blade to run around bones So like with the chicken wings, you're able to pull up on those and keep that little drumette piece, but use that back part of your blade to move around it, and then you're able to just break that piece off. This will allow you to clean that up. It looks very fancy and it's super quick and easy. So you want to do that to both sides. That kind of gets that out of the way. From there, you'll be able to take care of the thighs. The Frenching is a term that's used to clean up that last little end of the chicken legs there. That's not mandatory. That tends to just be something that you see at classier places because it is just that little extra work. Other than that though, you're able to kind of pull that leg apart where you can see that there's a thin layer of fat. Cut all the way down that. This will open that area up. You're able to use your knife, come through. Then you're able to turn the bird over, and then you can really feel those pivot points in there. That's where the joints are, so it makes it easier to find. But you always want to try to keep that last little bit of the meat there at the end. You're able to use this, carve it down into that, cut on through, find that joint, and be able to cut in between those bones so it comes right off. You always move that off to the side. You want to do the same thing for the other side. So you'll be able to cut that layer of fat, turn it back over, get that last little piece of meat out, find the joint, cut right in between the two. Once you have that off to the side, you'll be able to work on your chicken breast. So there is the wishbone, tends to be the Thanksgiving Day favorite, but this is also in chickens. So you'll be able to use the point of your blade and you're able to get down into, you want to just follow along those lines. You can kind of feel it after a little bit. Cut on both sides and you'll be able to pull that piece out. If you want to keep it dried out a bit so you can do that as well, go for it. But other than that, that tends to get thrown away. So from there, you will want to separate the two pieces of the breast, which there is a line that goes down it. Kind of hard to tell which side you're going to end up on at first. So make that first cut right along the top center piece. From there you'll kind of see if you made what side. After that you will just be able to follow that down, and as you cut you'll be able to pull away from it a bit. This will open it up more. You're able to get into the area. You want to save that tenderloin piece. That stuff usually is like $5 to $8 a pound. Just for that extra little tender piece, kind of almost the chicken strip. So make sure you don't waste any of that. You're able to move all the way down it. Usually on the back side of it, away from the wings, you're kind of able to finish that off, moving through using the point of your blade to get down in there. Moving up forward some more, you're able to, again, you kind of find those, wiggle around, find those joints, and you're able to just saw right through it. The classy way is to keep that little drumette piece attached to the chicken breast. That way you can kind of have a bone no matter which, if you're a white or dark meat type of person. If you don't want to, you can pull that piece off, and that way you just have your nice chicken breast. If you want to keep the skin on to give that extra little flavor, extra little crispy factor, you can. If not, you could almost pull the fat off of those with your finger and just use your blade. It gets caught up anywhere. So now back to the thighs and the leg pieces. Usually a whole quarter piece is a lot for one person to eat, and it takes a lot longer to cook as well. So when you do have it turned off to its side, on the back side, there's usually a pretty prominent fat layer in there. That's pretty much the line there that you want to cut. Again, you kind of feel the joints. You're able to almost just press and push right through, and as long as you fall in between those bones, it will go right through. So from there you can kind of do the same thing. Keep the skin on if you want to. If not, you're able to use your finger and the point of your blade to clean up those chicken thighs. And from there you do have the legs. If you want to keep, again, skin on, go for it. Not super easy to kind of pull off. So if you do want to debone those chicken thighs, or any type of bird really, you can turn that over where you see the bones, use the point of your blade, and you kind of start moving along right across the bone there. Once you're able to get in on both sides of that, you're able to kind of just keep scoring right along really close to the bone there, and eventually you can get your whole blade in there and kind of just cut that piece out. This is a great way to either just use that dark meat, cut it up for a chicken soup, or sometimes I will debone those, kind of flatten them out, and that makes a quick, easy grilling, or you can saute those up really quick. And then same thing with the chicken legs. You're able to kind of just make that first score, get started on that, and again, you use the tip of your blade to kind of follow along the bone, and as you kind of make it through, it kind of opens up and you can just keep peeling away at it. And again, you can get to the point where you can use your whole blade and kind of just finish popping that bone out. Again, this way you can kind of just use your knife, cube up those pieces, and either cook it up for the soups or to do what you wish with it. So that's kind of a great way to break down a chicken. It is something that with practice becomes a whole lot easier. You start to be able to deal with those joints a lot more, and I mean really within a couple minutes you can break one of these down. Even if you are just quartering it up, pop that in the oven and you can work on the rest of your meal from there.